Mbule is officially a free agent after Mamelodi Sundowns decided not to renew his contract. Now, Kaizer Chiefs fans are going wild with this. Bring MasterChef right now. And then the other half goes, yeah, but this guy has a drinking problem. Then the other half goes, nah. He doesn't really have a drinking problem. He just did those things at Sundowns to piss them off so that they wouldn't renew his contract. But what if he actually does have a drinking problem? Is he worth the risk? Of course, the other half will say, yeah, he's a brilliant player, but he has a drinking problem that Kaizer Chiefs can somehow manage, because Kaizer Chiefs is the best team in the world and they know how to manage players. Forgetting, by the way, that there are players like Abutum Sanzuma who were at Kaizer Chiefs and they still failed to live up or recover rather from their drinking problems. Someone could even say, nah, Mpilo, but they could sign this player and even do things like sign a behavioral clause, morality clause, whatever they want to call it. Basically, these clauses in contracts force the players to abide by the rules or else be released. But then the question is, who actually loses if Chiefs releases this player? Give me a second. It's both. Because on one hand, Mbule will lose a team and he will lose a job. But on the other hand, then you have Kaizer Chiefs who will also lose a player. And on top of that, not just any player, but a player of Mbule's quality. Because if Mbule leaves Chiefs, let's say they do sign him, then if he leaves or when he leaves, then there's that huge gap now that must be covered. So that's the question that Kaizer Chiefs will have to decide. If he didn't do this on purpose, this whole drinking thing, then now Chiefs face a very difficult decision, because Chiefs is a brand. You guys always say this when it suits Chiefs' agenda to say, nah, Chiefs is a brandy and we can't deal with things that are negative and all of those things, or things that tarnish the brand name. So I'll have you guys vote. Do you think that Mbule is a risk that is worth taking? You let me know on the comment section, because now we also need to talk about not just Mbule himself, because he's not the only free agent, guys. The other free agent is Rivaldo. Rivaldo turns 29 in October. Yes, turns 29 in October, and he has had a lot of injuries at Mamelodi Sundowns. But a lot of people will tell you that Rivaldo had injuries at Sundowns, but we know the story. We know that sometimes teams like Sundowns, since they have too many players, they will lie and say a player is injured. Classic example, I think it was Proki or Hropla, all those years back when they said injury update, and then that player responded, was like, I'm not injured. And we've heard that some players get sidelined and then we hear that they're injured. But in the case of Rivaldo, we've actually seen him in a lot of these times. It seems to be serious injuries. It's not like the simple injuries of maybe he pulled a hamstring, something that we can lie about. But if you actually see someone wearing a moon boot, who forced them to wear moon boots, you know? So I think that this case of Rivaldo for me is the same thing as Ubongani Sam. Not in terms of quality, but in terms of injuries. I complained about the same thing with Ubongani Sam beginning of the season. I was like, nah guys, I hear you. You're saying that you want him to come to Chiefs. He's a quality left back. I was like, but what about his injuries? I do not want to risk this thing. Players who tend to get injuries, they don't just go to another team. It's a very rare for a player who was injury prone in one team to go to the other team and not be so. Because if we're talking about Kutse, let's say he played for, with all due respect, TS Galaxy. They're a good team, they are well managed, but, well, not that greatly managed, but because sometimes they don't pay players their fees. But we're not there. Where we are, we're at the fact that if you're saying, nah, it's a lower level team, so maybe their fitness and conditioning guy is not up to standard. You know, I understand that. But it's playing at Sundowns, like the team that is competing in the Club World Cup this in a few days, right? Literally 12 days time. They are playing in a Club World Cup. They are playing in the Champions League week in, week out. So clearly, they are good enough to keep him fit. Yet they don't because he has injury problems. So I don't think it's happening. Speaking of things that are not happening, this is not happening. Denis Kibu, we talked about him yesterday and the fact that this guy, Chiefs bid 3 million for him and Simba rejected that. Turns out that is not true. That is not true because apparently Chiefs were never interested in this player. And the rumors of him actually being wanted by Chiefs only surfaced because Nabi was seen watching a game of Simba, which he happened to play in. And then now the rumor started. This is the guy that is being monitored by Nabi. But Nabi was never there to monitor Denis Kibu. By the way, while we're here, please do make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't and like the video. Nabi wasn't, or didn't rather, go to Tanzania to watch this guy play. He actually went to watch this guy, and not just to watch, but to actually have a conversation. If you don't know who this guy is, this is Fal Salum. And according to reports, Fal Salum, of course, was wanted by Yanga, was wanted by Simba, and Chiefs wanted him. And the fact that this guy was a younger player as well, and Yanga just let him go to Azam. The fact that Yanga would have wanted him, clearly that's not a move that he would have wanted to make because they thought it wasn't good enough. And then there's Simba, who is not preferring to go to. And then there was Sundowns. But the deciding factor apparently for him to even be interested at coming to Kaizer Chiefs is the fact that Nasruddin Nabi met with him. He talked to him and he talked to him about the project of Kaizer Chiefs, him coming to Kaizer Chiefs and all of those things. And that personal touch apparently has done the magic. And now Faisal Salum wants to come to Kaizer Chiefs. And the reports are even saying that in January, Salum actually wanted to come to Chiefs, or wanted to leave Azam, let's be more specific, to a point that he missed a whole week of training trying to force a move away from Azam. But Azam had that 40 million price tag over his head, which they can no longer use because the guy over here is now in a situation whereby he has 1 year remaining on his contract. So if they don't sell him now, next season he will live on a free. So I don't think they would risk it. They would rather take 10 million now or however much and then make sure that they get something for him. Because if they don't get something for him, then they're in trouble. But it gets better because on top of Chiefs getting Salum, they could also potentially get rid of Fiacre Ntwari. Apparently, according to these reports, Fiacre Ntwari, or rather Azam, are interested in getting Fiacre Ntwari. So now Chiefs can say, here's Fiacre Ntwari, we bought him for 5 million, we'll sell him to you for 3 million. Now can we at least pay 5 million for Salum or 7 million for Salum, and the sum will be 10 million. So you get a player and then you get money. Everyone is happy. And this for Chiefs solves the problem of Ntwari being a foreign sport and just sitting on the bench doing nothing. But now he goes and then there's a foreign sport that is open, and then that very foreign sport, we use it to accommodate Faisal Salum and also make sure that we can still sign another foreigner. Speaking of Kaizer Chiefs goalkeepers, Bruce Vuma, this guy here, has apparently pulled out. Not has apparently, he has definitely pulled out of the Bafana Bafana squad that's going to play in the COSAFA. Now, I saw Unplayable, they posted this, and then in their comment section, someone asked, why is this happening? And then they said it's because of personal reasons. Now, if there's something that the guy has to deal with, personal reasons, has to be with family and all of those things, I'm fine with that. Like family first, very important. But if it's because he's pouting, I can't take that. And I will not also accept Stella dropping out of the COSAFA squad because he's pouting and he feels disrespected and he's listening to fans. Because if you think that the COSAFA squad has nothing to do with Hugo Bruce, you are hugely mistaken. If you think that the COSAFA squad has no relationship to the main Bafana Bafana squad, you are hugely mistaken. I will give you one example. You will remember Roshin Dotli. He played in the COSAFA and then he was called up to the main Bafana Bafana squad. So Bruce sometimes calls players and he sees if they can prove themselves in the COSAFA squad before calling them up to the main team. So this thing of saying, no, if you are being called up to the COSAFA squad, you are not being respected, is just misleading. Can we stop these things? Abomteto, they played in the COSAFA before they went to the main Bafana Bafana team. So I hope that Bruce Vuma rather, is not honoring this because there is a reason that, is solid. Not because it's pouting. Because then it's just going to make the problem that is already bad to become worse. But what do you guys think about the things that we talked about? Specifically, Fal Salum and Mbule. Do let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, remember, equals al pelumo.